Jessica's last laugh. The cart crawled slowly along the bumpy street. Jessica sat stiffly in the back, her wrists chafed raw from the chains. Jessica trembled as the cart stopped before a scaffold piled high with tinder. Her eyes glistened with embarrassment. The town square was crowded. So many of her neighbors thought she was guilty. Her trial had been quick. She was convicted without evidence, on hysteria alone. I was the only one who stood up for her, begging for her release. The court barely acknowledged my pleas. They thought she was a witch, and witches had to burn. Jessica thrashed and bared her teeth as they tied her to the stake. A man stepped forward and lit the pyre. She spit in his face. I turned away from the spectacle. The Jessica that I knew was innocent and sweet. But people change. Jessica did. Her behavior slowly soured in the months since I met her. She became irritable and hateful. Eventually, her mood swings escalated into violent outbursts. Her neighbors watched her erratic behavior with suspicion. Of course, it was the 2 dead children that sealed her fate. Nasty business. Their corpses were found abandoned in a nearby pasture, covered in bite marks. They found Jessica shortly after, her cheeks smeared with blood. I was going to miss Jessica. We made the perfect team. If I'd only been able to control my urges, maybe we could have stayed together a little longer. Jessica had been eager to please me at the beginning. But when she saw how my appetite grew, she became desperate. Unfortunately for her, nothing compared to the flesh of a young child, my favorite meal. She tried to fight the urges. She really did, but I knew what we needed. And finally, she gave in, bringing us not 1, but 2 succulent children. In the town square, the flames climbed higher and higher. Jessica's flesh crisped, blackened, and cracked. Eventually, Jessica stopped screaming. And after a long while, she no longer moved. Jessica seemed dead. So when she raised her charred head and began to laugh, a murmur of surprise went through the crowd. Her shrieks of laughter grew louder and louder, full of hysterical energy. The hard faces of the villagers flickered with fear. Who laughs while they burn? They didn't understand Jessica was being freed from me. Her death would release me back into the world, where I'd be free to find a new vessel.